What up, JJ?
Hello, sir. How are you today?
I'm all right. How about you?
I'm doing okay, but struggling.
Okay, bring it on. What's up?
I am in. Give me a moment. I am in the midst of a 24-year sexless relationship.
Okay, you
with
married?
A woman. Yes,
Okay.
married 20 years.
Okay.
With a woman that I'm deeply, deeply in love with.
Yeah.
And always have been. The crux of the question that I'm dealing with is whether she can't address this issue or she won't.
That's not a question I can answer, brother.
I understand. I understand that.
When you've asked her that question, what has she said?
Well, that's the problem. Is we it's not that we have not discussed this. We discuss this on average about once a year.
Okay.
I will not let it go, as in just not have it just sit quietly. But she continually asks for space and she needs time. And for years I've given it.
Yeah, you gave her a quarter century.
Yeah. Yes. But it's more complicated than just we're not. It started with, well, it originally starts with her childhood traumas.
Mm-hmm.
And which shortly after we started dating, in which time there was no sexual issues, her vaginismus developed.
Sure.
Which she has never been able to address. And we went about 12 years, during which time we got married and had a child because we were intermittently able to, a handful of times, be together. But
when you say she wasn't able to deal with it, did she go meet with physicians and doctors and psychiatrists to work through it? Or when you say we weren't able to, she just said, hey, this is painful, I don't want to do this, and that was the end of the story?
Closer to the latter. It's not that she would not, but everything she did was with extreme reluctance and with me pulling her along to move forward.
Yeah, that's not a way to deal with vaginismus. Okay.
No,
right.
It is not.
Okay.
But it was greatly, greatly complicated halfway through our relationship by her being diagnosed with bone marrow cancer.
Good God Almighty, this poor woman.
And yes, that's how I feel too. But she had spinal damage from that. We thought we may lose her for quite a while. She's got, reconstructive surgery. She has immense constant pain that we've never been able to get her out of, and neuropathy in her legs and pelvis. Yikes. Which complicates this.
Yeah.
So the question to me is, she didn't want to in the 12 years prior either.
Right.
And it now feels like something I can't challenge anymore.
Yeah.
Because how do you ask your cancer patient wife to have sex with you if she can't?
Yeah.
And between that and her emotional issues that started it, I need to know, or I need some framework to decide.
Yeah.
Whether she cannot simply be asked to do this or if she's just refusing to.
Again, it would be shameful of me to speak on her behalf, but I get. By the way, I just want to say this out loud. I don't hear from you, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. I don't hear from you a jerk. I hear from you a man that loves and desperately misses his wife.
Yeah.
And you and I both know of jerk guys who it's all about them and sex is all about them. And I don't get that here at all. I get a guy that stood by his wife for a long time and he desperately loves her and desperately misses her. Intimately, right? Emotionally, physically, just misses my wife.
Well, then, to be very clear, we have a great marriage.
Yeah.
Well, we're best friends, all of that. It's just, there is no physical touch at all.
Okay, and I want to tell you that calling it the best marriage or a great marriage is not true.
No.
Because you're drowning on the other end.
Yeah.
Okay? And so it's important to own reality when we're moving forward here. Because if you keep calling it's great, it's so wonderful, it's so great, it's so good, and there's no physical intimacy. And by the way, that's more than intercourse, right? There's a
Yeah.
mile.
No, that we don't touch. She can't stand touch.
Okay.
She can't. She doesn't want to be touched. Period.
That is the place where I would start. Less about intercourse. I mean, you talk about bone cancer and treatments. I mean that's just going to wreak havoc. And reconstructive surgeries of all kinds. I mean, that's going to wreak havoc. So I can't. I don't know enough. I don't have X-rays. I don't have that expertise to tell you. No, I just do this, and this, and and everything's a go. This is somebody who is for a million reasons, and I'm not going to say they're unjustified reasons, but who for a million reasons has said, I don't want to touch you. And you, as the person on the other end of that, are dying.
Yes.
And so until you have that level of openness and honesty, then we're not going to get to the root issue, which is this something you're going to stay in? Is this the world that's just as is, right? For better or worse, sickness and health? Or is there something deeper? Have you sat down and said, and I'm overgeneralizing this and I'm over gendering this, okay? Most men sit down to solve some of these problems in a very spreadsheet kind of way.
Yeah.
What do we have to do so that we can? Versus you sitting across from your wife and you tell her, I love you so much and I miss you and I'm dying here because we can't even hold hands. And there's something about me that is gross to you, that is offensive to you, that is unlovable to the point where you won't touch me. And when you ask it that way, it becomes more of an invitation instead of a problem to be fixed that we can just read in a manual or watch a YouTube video about. Have you tried that?
I have tried that and a number of other things. The problem is she doesn't want to talk about it either.
Okay. So
she the last time we had a conversation about it about a year and a half ago, that was the line she ended it on, was I just don't want to talk about it anymore.
Okay, so my question for you is this. This is a hard, frightening question.
Yeah.
What is your or what statement? Because it looks like you have two paths ahead of you, okay? And this is me trying to choose reality. Tell me if I'm off. It's quarter century, 25 years. Your wife's been through hell and back a few times. And then at some point on the way back, she just sat down in a lawn chair and said, I'm just staying here. Right? And so you have a quarter of a century of data. Are you going to exhale and make peace with your best friend who just doesn't like touch? Or are you going to leave? Because that seems to be the question you're dancing around. She has looked you in the eye. She's looked you in the eye and said, I do not and will not talk about this. This conversation is over. I'm moving on. And if you continue to stay in this loop, in this merry-go-round, you're going to drive yourself batty. If you choose to say, I'm with a woman who has had a ton of trauma and is not able to be physically, or not able to, doesn't desire to, and I'm going to put all that in the same bucket right now. There is no physical intimacy, and this is our marriage. Exhale. Not how you would have drawn it up, but not by your hand, but in your lap. This is the life the universe gave you. And I'm heading forward with my head held high and my integrity and character in check. Here we go. Or I'm leaving. I got one life to live and I'm out. But those seem like the two paths before you. And just asking and continually dancing around, well, maybe next year I'll say the right thing. And maybe next year I'll say the right thing. 25 years, bro.
No, that's why it's happening now.
Yeah.
And that's why the decision is necessary now.
So where are you? Do you have somebody else?
No,
Okay.
absolutely never have, never wanted.
Okay. So where are you leaning? What are the questions going on in your mind and your heart?
And that's why I have to address this, is because I can't stop thinking about this. It's impacting my life, impacting my relationship with my daughter. It's impacting so many things.
Yeah, of course.
and I'm paralyzed with it because my choice, no matter how I proceed, I don't have a framework to feel good about myself. Either I'm sacrificing myself for the woman I love, which I could feel good about but not proud of.
Why wouldn't you be proud?
I'm going because it's it's hard to sign up for a lifetime without touch.
Dude,
that's not what I want.
No, it's torture. It's torture. Call it what it is. It's torture.
And yet the other option is to, as you've said a couple of times, it's not her fault. And she's a wonderful wife in every aspect other than this. And it feels selfish.
JJ, it's a huge part of human connection. Stop minimizing it. Okay?
Well, I'm not. That's why I need to understand whether or not she's just being stubborn about it and won't do it, or if this is too much to ask.
I don't think you're going to get that.
Much to ask.
I don't think you're going to get that question. I don't think you're going to get an answer to that question.
No.
Have you gone to talk to somebody? Have you all gone to talk to somebody?
Yes, I have separately, and she has as well. As a couple, we've been.
How do those conversations go?
Not well. She won't engage in therapy. She says she doesn't understand what therapy is for and what she's supposed to say. She doesn't, and it's another way we could address it that can't be addressed,
So I think you've got your answer. I don't know that will or won't is the answer here. The answer here is it's not. With a period at the end.
Maybe so. Well, thank you.
No, hold on. I just want to sit here with you. This is heartbreaking. I'm heartbroken for your wife who was abused and who's been through bone cancer. I'm heartbroken for you because you sound like you're a man of high integrity. You're a good guy. And I wouldn't wish a lifetime of no touch on anybody, even somebody I hated. It's torture. And I hate it for you, man. I hate it for you.
Yeah.
So I want you to know you're not crazy. You're not a bad guy. And this is a huge, huge, huge deal. Okay?
Yeah.
And it's easy for me to sit here completely removed from the situation and say, my God, can you not hold hands?
No, please don't understand. It's not quite that, but we can hold hands. We can give a good morning, good night peck on the lips,
Okay.
But there's nothing beyond that. There's no touch. There's no touch.
Okay.
There's
no intimate embrace.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, I hate that for you. The last thing I can tell you is, or ask you, have you sat down and said, I'm dying inside?
Yeah, I have.
How'd that conversation go?
These conversations don't go well because forgive me for diagnosing. Her fight and flight instinct kicks in. I'm attacking her as she feels, which I'm not. And the time that we had that conversation, it was, how dare you put that on me? That I was struggling. And I said, we need to figure this out somehow. And she said, how dare you put that on me? And that's the way most of it goes. I don't have the status to ask to change this.
Then I'm going to suggest, after 25 years, you're not in a marriage, my friend. You're a caretaker.
Maybe so.
I hate that for you, man.
I don't feel that way up until right now, and even continuing, I still don't feel that way, but that may be the way it is anyway.
Hear a difference, my friend, between I've talked to guys on this show. I've talked to women on this show who were in the last few months of pregnancy, whose husbands were complaining about a lack of sex. And I'll say, dude, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Stop. You know what I mean? Like, what's the matter with you? Or if your wife's going through chemo and reconstructive surgery, and you ask the doctor, how much is the recovery time? And he says, it's going to be a year before she can move. And you're like, are you kidding me? I got to go a year without. Dude, that's a jerk. You walking alongside somebody and their emotional struggles, their mental health struggles, their physical struggles, and also having needs to, wants to, desire to, it doesn't make you a bad guy. There's not a how dare you put this on me. There's it's going to look different for us than it does for other couples, for sure. But a marriage is something where both people can say, I desire you, I want you, here's some things I need. And if you get shut out, let's take sex off the table because it's really charged. My guess is you don't have a lot of space for any needs in your home, do you?
I do.
Okay, tell me about them.
Well, I guess I take that as this is the only need I need scratched.
Is that because you've become incredibly self-sufficient?
Maybe. I mean, I'm kind of that's kind of who I was to begin with. Okay. So yeah, I am that guy and I do that, but I don't need much. I'm not asking for much.
I know, man, but I want you to stop minimizing yourself and your space. It sounds like you've been a pretty great husband. To circle all the way back around to the beginning question, man, I can't answer that. It sounds like you've got the answer, and it's really tough to digest. And I'm telling you, just like husband to husband, I cannot imagine having to digest what you're having to digest. But I can't see another path forward other than a big exhale. And she has looked at you and said, I am not interested in having this conversation, much less trying to come to some sort of way that I can love you and the way you're telling me would mean the world to you. Not to mention the physical challenges, not to mention any of those things, right? And again, I don't have any idea what kind of physical challenges she's experiencing, if intercourse even be possible for her, depending on her reconstructive surgery and the nature of the chemo she went through, all that stuff. But we're just talking about intimate embrace. Just that sense that somebody puts their head on their shoulder and you're hugging and you can feel it in your nervous system that you're loved and you're safe. And she says, how dare you put that on me? That's tough, man. That's tough. But it sounds like your choice is to exhale and say, okay, this is my lot. This is the path I was given. And I'm going to walk it with dignity. And I'm going to figure out what I have to do. Whew. Or you leave. And if you're a man who's committed to, I'm not going to leave, then I applaud you, my friend. The highest form, that's covenant. You said I do till death do us part. And that's a tough road you're walking, but I applaud you. And I wouldn't trade places with you. It's a tough, tough place to be. That's just me being honest. But I think continuing to ask, is this possible? Is this capable? Is this capable? Is this possible? Is going to haunt you. And it's going to drain any sort of future vitality that you have. And so I wish you peace in making the choice that you're going to make. And it sounds like you're going to stay. Good on you. And then exhaling and say, okay, I'm going to grieve this because I love her. And this will never be a part of our relationship, our marriage. Embrace, touch, connectivity, sensuality. That will never be a part of this marriage. And so, in light of that, who am I going to become next? What am I going to do? Where am I going to channel that energy? What does that look like? And that sounds like it's the path before you. I have confidence in you, man. I have confidence in you, but I think it's going to take a season of grieving, of just exhaling and not waiting. Maybe today, maybe today, maybe today. I think the maybe todays are killing you. Whew. Complex stuff, man. And I wish I had something better news for you. It's just one of those that ends with a, man, I'm just honored that you asked me to sit with you, and I'll sit with you. The next right move may be writing your future self, the 10 years from now self, a letter saying, okay, in light of this, here's who I'm going to be. Here's what I'm going to learn. Here's the adventures I'm going to go have. Here's what I'm going to go do, because I'm not going to cash my entire life in, even though I've got this huge hole in my marriage and in my heart. But in spite of that, I'm going to move forward. Maybe that's the path, my brother. Call me anytime, man. I appreciate you trusting me enough to sit with me and letting me sit with you.